Hello everybody, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. This is a game I don't really know much of what it's about. I couldn't tell I don't know. I'm going into this blind, and I barely know much about the whole thing. Just begin. Audio is on. This is by the creators of the Stanley Parable, by the way. So,
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this?
I can see the Counter-Strike
This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda.
What is this?
So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Whisper machine. Status active.
Security hull breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
Whoa.
I love how you
this
can
is.
see the
Oh, I thought it was
in
just a
this
window.
room.
Wait, hold on a second. Now I can see what he's saying. Oh.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
I like those things.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The
Okay.
game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could destruct it by introducing a great enough heat signature. What? If your body could stop the beam. What? It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Yeah, sure, why not? Not see any other way to... Well!
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I get teleported! Oh! I feel like I'm breaking a Valve game.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system.
Well,
Or this
I'm gonna
floating
die
could
in,
be
the,
afterlife,
in space.
a
What is this?
peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs.
That's okay. So that's
So he
what it
stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look
can I
at the
move?
first game he made after leaving
Nope.
this one behind.
I-
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
Past. Let's move it. Yeah, this has to be made on purpose. I don't think it.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more
I didn't see
complete.
this.
Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
Oh. Slender type game. You are now entering.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I don't agree with that at all.
Oh, I
but
stopped. Oh
what
no!
do you do?
I stopped while he was talking. Oh, I stopped. I've been stopping the recording at the beginning of all of the games because it doesn't seem to. Because it seems like they don't. Am I getting slower?
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter,
Right.
it'll bring you back up to full speed,
Okay, so this
so
seems
you
to
can
be able to
enter
go
the door
faster.
for
Oh
yourself.
no, that knocked me back. Let me guess, it's gonna end before I can get into the door. Is that what's gonna happen? I feel like that's what's gonna happen. What's the point of this? Oh. Stand on an X star staring at the...
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
A stranger appears.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person.
The game is
that
nothing but
takes time
giant
to
blocks
really
of
see that.
text explaining what's happening.
It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A button you press to stop the chaos that doesn't work. Press U to surrender. What are these ideas of games, and what kind of mind does this guy have? This guy sounds sad. Ready, set, fish. Please don't start talking. Hey, I'm gonna pause the game so it doesn't happen again. Wait, there's a skip this level option? It's interesting. Whoa. It's just like an SCP containment breach type of thing.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
How is this a puzzle? So there's a key somewhere?
Alright, let me just walk you through it.
No!
Hit the switch on the outside to open the door, then hit the same switch and walk through the door before it closes. You'll see a second switch on the inside, which will open the second door.
Oh, I didn't think of that!
Because we're going to see this puzzle again soon.
Oh,
We're
that's
gonna
a...
see it a lot.
Well, that's just a spoil... That's just a spoiler.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Oh, what?
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Why aren't those
How
walls
about
removed?
that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing.
Why am I here again? We're now exiting.
Uh-huh. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of it. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
What is that bigger picture? Great and lovely descent. Same controls. Why don't
Let's
any of
talk
these have
about
a
video
sprint
game
key?
development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do.
Yeah.
So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Yep.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Then why can't I find?
Source has
Well,
certain things that it does
I don't know
well,
how
and it has
to,
certain
but
things that it does poorly.
if he's
One of
using
the
Source
things that it
engine, then
does
shouldn't he
very
be able
well
to bunny hop?
is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with
Whoa.
what the engine does well.
Can I jump? I can!
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of
I don't
creative
dig fall
work they're going to
damage.
end up making. You might consider paying
Oh, no.
attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine
Whoa.
that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Whoa! But I want to go. Is this like a Half-Life kind of thing? Maybe. No, not really.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Okay.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible?
Where is he right
And
now?
we had heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
I've done that before. This is a big one. What happened to the... Why is
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same
yeah.
solution as the last time. There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But
It's a clever
I promise
puzzle.
I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Man. You there, did you
Here,
come up
Coda
above?
begins using
What was
a
up
kind of
there?
dialogue system.
Oh,
he
your
fashioned
people.
out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there was. That's Earth. No, don't. I'm not gonna put that in. Yes, there was an enormous prison I spent hours in, and yes, there are these floating colored blocks. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important because you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches. Yes, I didn't. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember. See, I prefer not to tell you. After all, we've only just met. There's nowhere. You can go nowhere saying that. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't. Come on, really? You're gonna keep these people trapped? These people have been trapped inside here? See, I didn't solve it. Someone else let me. Trust me. You don't want to go. Oh, let's just say that. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. You understand? It's the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. Again? No, I've been ready for this entire time. I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can see the black space in the middle. How much if I solve it? Why would I sit in the black space? Why would I sit in the black space? Oh, I probably should have asked who they were. Oh, it's plenty peaceful. It may not seem that way at first, but you'll come to think so eventually. It's a long game.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Should have asked if they wanted us. I kind of wanted this. Oh, whoa! This is nice. This isn't that bad.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out.
Spoilers.
I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long.
This is from the greatest Stanley Parable. There's probably secrets.
Point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination.
Where's the British guy?
We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
No! Okay, I don't think there was a secret there. Oops. Okay, so it's been a day since the last one, and I haven't looked at this next level yet, but this is the next level. Yeah, I don't do all these recordings in one day. This game is connected to, as you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. Nice.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but his game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Oh, by the way, when I opened this again today, I just realized this now that the picture of the shortcut on the desktop, the picture for the game is the Coda symbol from music, in music, like sheet music. if this was actually connected to the internet, I don't know why people would think this would mean anything. This is... It's just a game. But this guy doesn't... I don't know. Wait. Must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. Okay, I beat the game! More room?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
You've been here for an hour. It's like, I know this isn't actual people, but if it is, you've been here for an hour,
and because there's this,
and you haven't even thought that it's on the other side.
Before you move on, you get to pause, just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here, to step back and connect the pieces together, to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Are these people who? These are people who. Whoa! Does this remind anybody of that scene in The Incredibles? Oh, that is a... Wait. No, I thought that was a typewriter. Oh, it's a bunch of typewriters! I thought it was a big one. No, it's a bunch of them. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Time me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak. I can't hear you over all the typewriters.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kinda just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it. Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kinda just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Do I want to know what's gonna happen? I like the music, but...
See, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What furniture go in the center of the room? How about a TV with surround sound, a refrigerator? Put a giant hole in the ground. Is there, anything else to do? Oh, I have to answer this. Put a giant hole in the ground. Okay, now about along the wall. That's not what it. 10 stoves lined up on the wall. That's not. Okay, I see what's going on here. We should light up this room a bit. Skylight, full ceiling window. Let's open this baby up. I'm thinking 10 times 12 recessed electric 6-inch soft LED ceiling lights with fluorescent trim. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner. Yeah, we're doing that. come on! And a table. You need a table. Who are you? Exactly what do you... I'm pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. Oh, hey, the table. Nice. Oh, what? Oh. Where am I?
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Where are the snow? Where are the stoves? Is that... Oh,
So,
it keeps
okay,
on going.
he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table. Good. Go over to the photo frame and click to turn it slightly. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off. Then turn it back on. Now go to the left side sofa and move it over a little. Finally, touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison.
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them.
Wow.
Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on. But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going. And then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
What? Oh, you didn't like the... Wait. Oh, this is actually not that bad. Phone booth? Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you from after you escaped the prison. Oh. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too? Yeah, I was...
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows. But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
Do you feel any different? Sometimes I'm scared I'll get it out and then things will be exactly the same as before. Yeah. Oh, good. That's so nice to hear. Makes me feel really happy. He just kind of does that, you know. I'm still me, but I'm not. Somehow it's hard to describe. Remember to enjoy being who you are right now. It won't last. That's what? Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of when you? Wait, Did you get a call for another version of when you were a child? No, I think I'm the first. No, I think I'm the first person to. Did they tell you? What did you have to do to get out? See, all they did was they told me what they asked me how I felt about being in prison. They just talked to me for a while. Let's go for that. What? Did that freed you? How does that work? Listen, you can't until you're out. I promise you were. Let's see, just tell me.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
Whoa, this is a good one. Hey, is it that? It's that door again.
To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
It's nice. I like this. Oh, hey. Oh my goodness, I'm glad as heck that you showed up. Though I might be having to clean this entire house all myself and right myself. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up.
Wait. Oh, come on, it gets weird. I'm trying to read it.
Including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Good table. Oh, okay. Now, would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? That's the bathroom. Okay. While you're there, why don't you straighten out the rug a bit? All the little details matter. Do you enjoy being a house cleaner? Well, I don't enjoy it so much as I need it. While I'm working, I feel kind of calm that rests in the pit of my ribcage. My soul just can't be soothed by any other way, it seems, which I guess is all about all that matters. Oh, and a tidy couch. Will you straighten the pillows on the sofa? Can I do the dishes? No, I can't do the dishes for you before. Even off that oven. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Do you absolutely have to? Yes. Oh, okay. Well. No, I don't. It was stupid. Never mind. Hey, those dishes need to be yep, there we go. Already on it. Sure, the tub was clean. Are there still books scattered on the floor in the bedroom? If so, I thought that looked wrong. How about you come and clear these dishes
After
off
the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing.
House cleaning is
It's
so
the
difficult. I
moment
do
after a
it.
particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful. I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months when he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
I'm just gonna restart the level and see what that cheesy story is. Yes, make it especially cheesy. Oh, it was stupid. Sorry, never mind. Okay. Yeah, see?
After the intense set of prison games,
He puts
this house
some...
cleaning level almost feels like...
Wait, does it go... Oh, does he ask me...
It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let
Wait.
it sit
Oh,
and digest inside
no.
of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Oh no. Just don't tell me. Is he
I
gonna?
really like this game. Of all of his
Is he
work,
gonna make-
actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant
Oh,
smile
I
on
can
his
do that.
face.
I didn't see that. Or when I said that a really cheesy thought, I was gonna say that it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, and it takes care of you. Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. I get it, that's a weird thing to say to someone you just met. Yeah, you're right, that's pretty cheesy. But there's a bit... Yeah, you're right, that's pretty cheesy. ... I am so sorry. Anyway, so... Housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you please clean up the books? Thanks.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Can I please stop? Wait.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again,
Oh, I have to go.
You can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Okay.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
No. What does that say? Talk. Okay, why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect. This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself, compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful? I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how do we do it, but how we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. Oh!
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
See, this is the key. How do I achieve it with no effort? On the way to work, I told another person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dreams. Kids should not follow... Being alone... see, I still love it. I still love you. Let's just... I don't know. I'm just gonna press certain things. Drinking is not hurting my life. Do you understand? Let's see. Developing. Oh! Just kidding. I wouldn't want to do some. What if I'm not a good teacher? You guys coming out of the back of the room? Look out! It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have.
What?
To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days. This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Alright, the performance is beginning. Places, please. Oh, I thought that was a stage. Okay, let's see. In this scene, you will be playing as me. We are a gathering of professionals. First, you start out leaning against a wall. Good, stay right there. The woman across this room, in this chair, is a professional photographer of animals. What? It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one... Oh. Chance to learn something from her. Go to gain something to succeed. I want to say something to her. Where's the bathroom? What are you doing? You're deflecting. You're not saying what's actually on your mind. I really gotta go. Come on. Stop dancing around it and have a conversation with this person. Do it again. You're all of my hopes and dreams. Oh no, that's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of saying there were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with, but these cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Now talk to her again. I'll bet you learn to lean into the pain. You're messing it all again. You'll freak her out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I never did another opportunity like this again. Everything was wrong. I'm sorry. I want to try something. I'm stepping back from the stage. No! No! Oh. That black hole better not be out there. Please tell me that I can... Okay.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very helpful when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer.
Is something happening?
But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. Oh my God. How am I supposed to? That's a giant puzzle door. That's a giant puzzle door. That's a... Maybe I just don't do anything.
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Huh? Oh, there is a solution? Is that what you said? There is a solution? Okay, so there is a solution. Okay. Is it just going here? Only way to stop it is to speak something that's honest. I'm bursting with creative energy. Okay, I'm not. That's not honest, apparently. The only way to stop it is to speak something that's honest. I can't keep making these.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way. His games are going to get more desperate from here on out.
Oh, no.
After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
Hello? Where did this island come from? Where did this island come from? I can't... Oh! Is that person? Oh, lovely, where are you? Is there, it's been a long time since I've talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. I try to create, I feel empty. Oh, it keeps going. Oh no, what's happened? Did something change? It's a machine that kept me going and it stopped. I'm trying to find this engine that I used to attack me to start it again. You're looking for a machine? Then you know where it is. It isn't far. I need to see it to know why it stopped. Hello? Oh, right. I can take you to it.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes, Plains.
Can I
Here's a
please
friend
talk?
whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
I can take you to it, but there's a problem. It's guarded by a different puzzle. If you can help me solve the puzzle, we'll find the machine. Deal? Let's see. Deal. Doesn't matter what I say, does it? We're going to end up there one way or another, right? Deal! Ooh. Perfect. Come along. I'll show it to you.
Because from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
First you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to close the door. Alright, what's next? And now just press the switch here. That was so simple. Can't believe I never saw it.
Out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
These are all the things that I... Wait. Okay, here we are. Trust me, you'll see. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say that game development is simple and joyous, and that you love it 100% of the time. Okay. Hey, maintenance. Oh. But that feels wonderful. It wasn't true. Don't worry about it. Just keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me. I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering. This is someone I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst.
I'm just pressing 1. I'm just gonna press 1 now. I'm not gonna bother reading anything.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it. I wanted it to stop more than anything. It never felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
He was trapped first.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
And let me guess, the next one's gonna be 8 months if there is a next one. The machine. Hey, what? Guard. Okay. Man, glad to see you arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can begin the interrogation whenever you like. You tend to be brutal. Is he gonna... Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing that you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda. Oh, okay, that's a lot of press. Let's see, What will be done with the machine? I don't know. Maybe given new batteries. Well, is it actually a machine? No, it's a human. Please go to answers. I'm trying. Hello? Hello? When... What is it actually? When will we get answers? Now. Will the machine ever explain itself? Probably not. Where did you find the machine? In the back alley. I don't know. Ma'am, yes? Please take a minute for... No. Will the machine... Let's see, where's the machine now? I think probably behind those doors, I don't know. How did you capture the machine? I put some, like, just tell a Kit Kat in front of it. Where's the machine? Let's see, what can you tell it? How did you... Will it be punished? Maybe. Do you know where the poisonous games have come from? The machine. Will the machine ever explain itself? I'm trying... What are your next actions? To shut up and not talk to you anymore. Jeez, you're annoying to hear questions. Okay, it's actually a machine.
And of course, it's the machine.
You stopped feeding us. Your work was keeping us alive. Your work was keeping us alive. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? I'm not looking through all. So here's what needs to happen. You need to go out and apologize. So you have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. You're so alone. Let's just do it. Let's not go too brutal on him. So you need to go out and apologize to them. See anything you fear? No? Nothing? Alright then, I'll speak to them for you. Okay. My friends! It falls on me to deliver bad news. I have a troubling revelation. It falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine will not apologize. The machine refuses to admit that. The machine will not apologize to us, and I man, I was gonna do something intense there, but I choked on my words. And I will not be satisfied until I get to hear those words. I'm sorry. Because I'm really sensitive person. Okay, but this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need this guy. I don't want to hurt this guy. Let's pay it retribution. Let us not show it that we are. Pay retribution. I don't know. Follow me. Let's see. We will destroy everything that the machine has created. Oh no! Is that what retribution? Did I think of something else when I said retribution? Oh no! Oh no! Don't. Thank you. Whoa. Go on, make sure your work dies here. I'm just gonna go with this. Isn't that what you're scared of? Having to live without your precious creations? Having to deal with yourself?
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it...
This thing doesn't run out of ammo?
I'm thinking that Code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking
these annoying typewriters.
I realized that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for him? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Whoa!
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Put down your weapon. I can't do anything else!
See why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something... I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look. And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, The Tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game. This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Hey, this was a texture used in the Stanley Parable. Wow, they used the texture from the other game. Is the maze actually solvable? I would love to know that. Is it just a wall? Or is it just like a complete wall?
To be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze? The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the Invisible Maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
No, it doesn't work. Okay. 1, 5, 1. Can I just say nope? I have to click 7. Man, I was so close. Ooh, that's nice.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first 2 challenges, and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
I'm feeling so
Was I a
worried.
failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
The dot dot.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up? I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... It felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable.
You've so infected my personal
And
space that's
the people who played them,
possible I didn't begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere.
they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, it was... I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
This is terrible.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean? I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself. That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work, is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. No, I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please. Start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please.
Wait a second.
And all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Epilogue. It's a lot of elevator. Oh.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. Solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons. Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
I haven't even said, I barely even said anything. I don't have anything to say. What do I say? I don't know.
If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Like a path in any of these? Oh, wait. No, that's just... Oh, there's something behind all of these. Oh, okay.
What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. Okay.
Is it gonna be the door again? Oh. Oh, it's just a really slow elevator. Never mind. Down. The music's so depressing. This is such a sad ending. There can't be multiple. Oh no. No gates. Sky roof. Oh, is that the? Oh. What is that? Oh, it's the... Oh, wait, is this thing actually gonna, like... It brought me up. I actually was expecting it to finally... Oh. Did I just see my mouse? Wow. Wow. It's a never-ending maze. Like, imagine the ending's all the way over there, and then you get stuck on everything all the way over there. That would just be terrible. It goes on forever. If there is an ending.
Turn back from this cave.
Poor R.
You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles.
Well, that was a that was a great
when
game.
you're so tired, but I know that you're strong. So turn back. Turn back.
That's the beginner's guide. That was really depressing towards the end. It did remind me of the story. Kind of reminded me of one thing. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you like this, please subscribe, and goodbye.